In Solo Leveling, Sung Jin-Woo conquered death itself. He soloed got the Monarchs, but what if he stepped into Hunter x Hunter's Dark Continent, a place where Isaac Netero, the strongest human alive, went in his prime and came back humbled, where Meruem, the king of Chimera Ant, who could tank nuclear explosions, would be considered as a low-level threat. Today, we are throwing the Shadow Monarch into the most hostile location in anime. No blood armor, just analysis. Let's break it down. First, let's establish what the Dark Continent actually is and why even gods feared it. This isn't a dungeon. It's not a raid boss arena. The Dark Continent is a landmass beyond the known world. In Hunter x Hunter, where the rules of nature, logic, and survival gets rewritten, humanity has tired exploring it 5 times officially. Every single expedition brought back what they call calamities, not just monsters, but conceptual threats that wipe out entire populations. You're talking about AI, a gaseous life form that makes you love something so much you die. Hellbell turns human into mindless monsters. Brion, a twin-tailed snake that keeps you alive indefinitely in agony. Zobadigis, infectious rage that creates zombie outbreaks. PAP, unknown effect but classified as extinction level. And that's just what humanity documented before running away. But let's talk about who actually went to the Dark Continent and what happened to them, because this is where the power scaling gets horrifying. The first person was Isaac Netero, the chairman of Hunter Association, the man who trained to throw 10,000 punches faster than sound, the same guy who fought Meruem and was ready to nuke himself and the Errant King just to win. Netero went to Dark Continent in his prime before he became the strongest non-user alive. He went with a team, he came back alone, and his only statement was, "Humanity isn't ready. Not I wasn't strong enough. We need better fighters. Humanity isn't ready." That's how badly the Dark Continent broke him. Line Horstor, a botanist who went on an expedition 200 years ago, she found the herb for all illness. Which sounds amazing, right? Drunk, she brought back Zubei disease as a side effect. 1 herb, 1 calamities, thousands dead. She technically survived, but her expeditions directly caused a civilization-ending plague. The third person was Dawn Freaks, Jing Freaks' ancestor, the only human who's been to the Dark Continent multiple times and survived long-term. He wrote a travel guide called Journey to the New World East. That's over 300 years old and still being updated, meaning he's still there and still alive. How? We don't know, but the fact that his book is called Journey and not Conquest tells you everything about his approach. The fourth person was Zig Zoldyck, Maz Orlik's father, from the legendary Zoldyck assassin family. He went with Netero on his expeditions. We don't even know if he made it back. The greatest assassin lineage in Hunter x Hunter, and even they couldn't confirm survival. And the last person was Beyond Netero, Isaac Netero's son. He's been to the Dark Continent twice and survived both the times. But here's the catch. He's so dangerous from what he learned there that was imprisoned by the Hunter Association. They feared what he'd do with Dark Continent knowledge more than any criminal. Everyone else dead, infected, or insane. The V5 nations, the 5 strongest women in Hunter x Hunter world, officially banned Dark Continent travel. Not because they're weak, because they calculated that the risk to reward ratio is species extinction. Dark Continent operates on cosmic horror rules, Everything has a price. Now, here's the part that should terrify you. Meruem, the Ant King, post-Rolls nuke, he could tank attacks at vaporized mountains, move faster than human perception, had effectively infinite evolution potential, required a literal nuclear bomb to kill. According to the official Hunter Association threat classification, Meruem is rated as a B-level threat. Meruem, who forced humanity's strongest fighter to suicide bomb himself, would be considered as a manageable threat in the Dark Continent ecosystem. AI is A+ level. Brian is A level. Pap is literally off the scale. That's not power creep. That's a reality of the Dark Continent. Raw power doesn't matter. What the threats operate on conceptual, not physical levels. This is why Netero came back humbled. He realizes that all his training, all the strength, it wasn't about being weak. It's that strength is the wrong solution to the Dark Continent's problem. So, where does that leave Sung Jin-Woo? Let's inventory what Shadow Monarch brings to the nightmare. We're talking end of series Jinwoo. He is now a full Shadow Monarch. His powers are an army of over 10 million shadow soldiers, including nation-level threats like Beru, Billion, and the 3 Monarch-class shadows. Complete immortality. He exists outside conventional life and death. A reality manipulation on planetary scale. He literally rewound time from Earth, dimensional travel and teleportation between worlds, instant regeneration from any physical damage. Precognition through his soldiers, shared sense across dimensions. In raw combat, Jinwoo is essentially a god. He's above Meruem. In pure destructive output, he reversed time, he killed conceptual entities. If we're rating him on the Hunter Association scale based on physical threat alone, he'd be A+ or higher. But here's the problem. Netero was probably A level too. And he knew better than to try conquering it. The Dark Continent doesn't fight fear. It doesn't fight at all. Let's take AI, the gas life form. It doesn't attack you. It makes you experience unconditional love for something, a person, an object, anything. And that love consumes you until you die. You don't punch AI. You can't shadow extract it. It's not a combat encounter. It's a condition, a curse, a conceptual rewriting of your emotions. Or take Hellbell. It doesn't infect through bites or scratches, just desires. You want something badly enough? Near Hellbell's influence, you are now murderous puppet. No saving through. No resistant chick. Netero understood this. He went there as the strongest human and realized strength was irrelevant. Beyond Netero survived twice, and he's not even close to his father's power level. Why? Because he understood the king wasn't about power. Dawn Freaks has survived 300+ years. Not because he's the strongest, but because he explodes. He doesn't conquer. He doesn't extract, he learns. Jinwoo's entire power system is built on a comeback extraction and Levian. The system gave him tools to fight, to dominate, to conquer. But what happens when the threat isn't something you can stab? When domination is exactly what triggers the calamity? Let's run the scenario. How does Jinwoo handle each major calamity? And remember, these calamities have killed expedition teams with multiple A-rank hunters. Netero avoid them. Beyond survived them. Through wit, not strength. Round 1. Zobei disease. Zobei turned people into rage-infected zombies. It was brought back by Line Hozur 200 years ago and almost ended civilization. Official trade trading. B-level. It spreads through population exponentially. Jinwoo's countered. He literally commands their dead. Zobei victims are essentially mindless. This might be one calamity he hard counters. He could potentially turn Zobei victims into shadow soldiers or just command them to stop. His authority over death might override Zobe's infection. This is the same threat that made Netero's team retreat. Jinwoo could theoretically neutralize it. Survival arts were 95%. This one's almost a joke for him. He's immune. He can control the infected. The second one, Brian the Immortality Curse, a botanical weapon that's a twin-tailed snake. It latches onto host and keep them alive indefinitely, even through fatal damage. Brian's official threat rating is A level. It was nearly impossible to remove. Sounds like a gift, wrong. You kept alive through everything. Starvation, disease, dismemberment. You feel all of it forever. The problem of Jinwoo, he's already immortal. Brian's curse is redundancy. He can't die. The Brian can't kill him. But here's a twist. Brian keeps you alive in agony. It's not about death, it's about pain tolerance. Even Jinwoo's pain tolerance has limit. His best play, dimensional travel, leaves the dark continent entirely, have his shadow surgically remove it in another dimension, then return. Beyond Netero encountered this and survived by avoiding attachment completely. Jinwoo's regeneration might actually make him a target, since Brian seeks host that can survive indefinitely. Survival odds are 70%, not fatal, but a serious problem requiring strategic retreat. Round 3. Hellbell. Hellbell, the desire curse. This is where things get psychological. Hellbell's official threat rating is A level. A mental, emotional contamination. Hellbell doesn't infect through contact. It preys on desire. You want something? Power, revenge, protection, knowledge, and it twists that want into murderous compulsion. Entire expeditions have killed each other under Hellbell's influence. These were trained hunters, mentally conditioned, aware of the threat. Didn't matter. Jinwoo's weakness, his entire character is driven by desire. Desire to protect his family, desire to never be weak again, desire to stand above everyone so no one can hurt him. But here's his saving grace. The system already manipulated his desires once. He's been through mental conditioning. His willpower broke Monarch level, mind control from rulers and monarchs. He recognized the manipulation. The question is whether recognition is enough. Netero had world-class mental fortitude and still choose to avoid Hellbell entirely rather than test himself against it. Survival odds are 60%. Coin flip. His mental resistance is elite too, but Hellbell has broken people with similar defense. The round 4. AI, the codependence curse. This might be Jinwoo's worst nightmare. Official threat rating A+. One of the 5 greatest calamities. Extinction level threat. AI doesn't attack. It doesn't infect. It makes you experience unconditional, all-consuming love for something, not mind control. Genuine emotion that kills you through obsession. Victims have starved to death, holding objects they love, dehydrate while staring at paintings, died of exhaustion protecting things that didn't need protection. What does Jinwoo love? His family, obviously, but also his shadow army. His soldiers aren't just tools. He's shown genuine attachment, especially to Beru, Igris, and Iron. If AI amplifies that attachment, Jinwoo could become obsessed with protecting them to the point of self-destruction, or worse, AI could make him love maintaining the shadows so much he can't dismiss them, draining his mana eternally until he collapses. And since he's immortal, he'd be trapped in a loop of mana exhaustion and recovery forever. His emotional attachment is his defense. He's cool, calculating, strategic, but AI tolerates the gaps in that armor, the things he actually cares about. No expeditions has successfully neutralized AI. They avoid it, even beyond Netero, who survived in Dark Continent twice. List AI as do not engage. If Netero, who mastered his emotion through decades of meditation, won't risk facing AI, should Jinwoo? The survival odds of Jinwoo was nearly 40%. This is real, legitimate threat His attachment to his shadows and family makes him vulnerable. Wrongfire, Bap, the Hope Curse, the Wild Card, the Unknown. Official thread rating was unknown, but classified as extinction level potential beyond the A+ scale. We know almost nothing, except it's related to hope. It's considered humanity's ending. Every expedition that encounters it, either dead or had records sealed. Theory suggests it's either give false hope that leads to doom, or it's something humanity desperately hopes for that destroys them when obtained. For Jinwoo, the man who wanted to protect everyone and became a guard doing it, Bap could offer him something like true safety, perfect power, eternal peace. Even Dawnfleek's travel guide has Bap section heavily redacted. The only man who survived the dark continent long term won't write about it. Beyond Netro encountered it and survived. His response was immediately sealed by the Huntress Recession as a global security threat. Survival arcs are unknown, literally cannot calculate without more information, but if it scares beyond and dawn into silence, that's the worst sign possible. So let's look at the pattern. Who survived the Dark Continent and how? Dawnfleek survived 300 plus years by exploding, not conquering. His book is travel guide, not a strategy manual. He respects the Dark Continent. Beyond Netero survived twice by being strategic, cautious, and treating it like a research mission, not a raid. He brought back knowledge and not power. Isaac Netero survived by retreating. The strongest human alive went dead in his prime and chose to live, not because he lost, but because he understood winning wasn't the goal. Everyone who went dead with a conqueror's mindset, dead. Everyone who went take something, brought back calamities. Everyone who thought power was the answer never came back. Now compare that to Sung Jin-Woo's entire character arc, given a system that rewards grinding and comeback. Trained to see everything as a raid to clear, to become the Shadow Monarch through domination and extraction. His entire identity is built on never backing down. The system conditioned him to approach everything like a video game, beats the boss, extract the loot, level up, repeat. But the Dark Continent isn't a game. It's not even test to strength. It's a test of wisdom, humility, and knowing when to walk away. Netero learned that lesson. Beyond learn it, don't learn it. Can Jinwoo learn it? Or is his system program mindset too ingrained? Here's what really determines if Jinwoo survived. Can he admit when he's oppressed? Look at his track record. Double engine, should have fled but didn't. Almost died but guard the system. Demon Castle, everyone said he'd die. He went anyway and won. Monarch's little guards, he killed them all. Sovereigns of Persia blood, told it was impossible, did it anyway. His entire story is about refusing to accept limitations, and it worked every single time. His refusal to back down led to victory. But the Dark Continent punishes the mindset. It's designed to break people who think they can conquer everything. The harder you try to dominate it, the worse the calamities you attract. AI targets your attachment, Hellbell targets your desire, Bap targets your hope, all thing that drives a conqueror's mindset. Against the Monarch, Jinwoo could win through raw power and strategy. They fought on his terms, come back. The Dark Continent doesn't fight, it conditions. In fact, it cures. There's no boss health bar, no win condition, just survival. Beyond survived by having exit strategy, multiple escape routes, contingency plans. He went to knowing he might need to run. Don't survive by respecting the environment. He doesn't attract, he doesn't conquer, he coexists. Jinwoo's core power is extraction, taking the defeated and making them his. That's the opposite of Dawn's approach. Netero survived by acknowledging his limits. The proudest, the strongest human alive, bowed to something greater. So the final question is, can Sung Jin-Woo survive the Dark Continent? Yes, but only if he fights every instinct the system gave him. At the comprehensive breakdown, he has some advantages, like dimensional travel, immortality, shadow army, mental assistance, experience with cosmic threats. The disadvantages are system program mindset, pride and arrogance, attachment vulnerabilities, no escape training, desire driven. Let's compare him with the survivors. Jinwoo is his Dawn freeze. Dawn has experience, adaptability and coexistence mindset. Jinwoo has raw power and escape option Dawn lacks. It's a tie. They have different approaches and both are valid. Jinwoo was it beyond Netero. Dawn has preparation, multiple expeditions, cautious strategies. Jinwoo has superior raw power and dimensional travel. Jinwoo has an advantage. He has better toolkit for emergency escape. Jinwoo was his Isaac Netero. Netero had mental discipline, humility and wisdom. Jinwoo has more power but less wisdom. There, Netero has their advantage. The mental game matters more than raw stat. So, the first scenario was Jinwoo goes in blind. If he takes a lighter dungeon, tries to extract creatures, push forward despite warnings, thinks he can solo it, there's a 20% survival rate. Scenario 2. If Jinwoo study first, he reads beyond sealed notes, studies Netero's warning, learns from Dawn's approach, brings his shadow army as scouts, not soldiers, keeps multiple dimensional escape routes ready. There is a 85% survival chance. With preparation and non-combat mindset, his advantage outweighed his weakness. The third scenario was Jinwoo's realistic approach. Realistically, he'd be somewhere in between. He'd prepare somewhat, but his system conditioning would make him overconfident. He'd bring safety measures but test them less than he should. The survival odds should be 65%. He'd survive but barely and likely learned the hard way why Netero came back, humbled. The Dark Continent wouldn't kill Sung Jin-Woo. He's too powerful to kill conventionally, and he has escape routes nobody else has. But it would do something worse. It would teach him humility. It would show him that some things can't be conquered, can't be extracted, can't be dominated. And for a man who becomes a god through pure determination and refusal to back down, that might be the hardest fight he's ever faced. Not surviving, choosing to leave while it's still alive. So the final answer is Jinwoo's survival rate was 65%, higher than Netero's team, lower than Dawn Tree's, about equal to Beyond It. His dimensional travel and immortality carries him, but his mindset holds him back. Now you're done. Am I underestimating the shadow one up? Is the Dark Continent too hyped? Could Jinwoo's shadows actually counter a? Drop your takes below. Subscribe if you survived this deep dive. Let's see if the Shadow Monarch can learn that lesson before it's too late. I'm out, stay safe, and maybe don't explode cosmic horror continents.